Well, good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football gods here on this Friday. I don't know about you, but I am excited as can be. And I hope you tune in tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, for our live stream, where, of course, you know we get lively because what do? We talk about the Dallas Cowboys, and we talk about it, man. So we actually talk a lot of trash about the Eagle, and we talk about the Giants and Danny Dollar Store, and we talk about the Washington football. Oh, they can't be called a football team. That's right. They lost even that, as well as paying $10 million as a fine. So we'll be talking about everything that is with the Dallas Cowboys, the NFC East, and news and happening in the NFL as we sit. Look at this, guys and ladies. 69 days, 9 hours, 41 minutes, and 6 seconds away. Can you believe it? That's away from kickoff against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm telling you, Tampa Bay is going down this year. They're going down for real like every other team from the NFC after leaving the Super Bowl. It's just the way it is. I know I'm just a guy with the voodoo doll and a day job, but trust me when I say that. So on to the news for the day of the Dallas Cowboys that we start this Friday. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, were fined $100,000 for practice. Not a game now. We're talking about practice. You've already heard that. But what the other part of this that you didn't hear is in 2022, during OTAs, they're going to lose a practice. The NFL says, you know what, we're talking about practice. We're going to snag one of your practices from next year from you, along with the $100,000 fine that, of course, is going to the team, which is, pocket change for Jerry Jones, and the $50,000 fine to Mike McCarthy for doing a little too much in OTAs. Now, it's interesting because, see, the 49ers were actually ordered to cancel the final week of their OTAs last month, so they must have been doing a whole lot more than differently. Now, the Jaguars, which we know had 11 on 11, they're forfeiting 2 practices next year, and I'm sure the players won't mind that too much. The players usually don't want to practice too much, but, that's the word coming down from the NFL. And some other interesting news is I said Monday night, it's almost comical. Monday night, the only thing that would scare me about the Washington football team would be if they were able to trade for Aaron Rodgers. I said that. And I think then Tuesday, Fred Smoot said, the Washington football team should try and do anything and everything they can to try and get Aaron Rodgers. Because quite frankly, I'm sorry, Ryan Fitzpatrick does not scare me. Nope. Aaron Rodgers with the Washington football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Aaron Rodgers. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Make no mistake about it. If you were to put Aaron Rodgers with that team would be deadly. But apparently, at the moment, there's no market for Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to see how this whole situation plays out for Aaron Rodgers as well as for the Green Bay Packers, if he's going to go ahead and just say, you know what, I'm done. The final piece on this is today, being the 2nd of July, today is the last day to take the COVID signing out period, where he could actually say, I'm going to take the year off and basically get himself a big chunk of change. So we'll see what happens on this one. They've got about a month before they go to training camp. We, of course, end up going to Oxnard 2 weeks from next Wednesday. So they have a little more time. They have an extra week beyond the Cowboys. Now, a question you have to ask here, too, is while we're still sitting here with this quiet period before we go to training camp is, should the Dallas Cowboys look at signing any of these players that are out there? Because we still know Richard Sherman is out there. We still know that KJ Wright's out there. There's some players out there that you could look at that, of course, are always linked with the Dallas Cowboys. Heck, for a ham sandwich, you could probably get Zach Ertz if you wanted to. Not that Zach Ertz would want to play for the Cowboys, but the situation right now with the Eagles, you got to look at it and say they don't want him, and they haven't gotten anything for him. At this point, I think they'd be happy just for a salary dump, get rid of a distraction. So, and I'm not saying we need to look at tight end because I'm okay with Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, but you know how it is out there. But watch, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to come out, they'll do a blog, they'll do a video, or they'll do, a sports writer will say, you know, maybe the Cowboys should consider trading for Zach Ertz. You watch. And you remember, you heard it here first on the Joe B Sports Report. And finally, before I go ahead and get back to my day job, which is, of course, I got work to do in the workshop, I got some paperwork to do, and we are working on something very, very special. A lot of you have asked me if I'm going to training camp in Oxnard. This year, I won't be going there. You know, if I go to Oxnard, you're going to have so much coverage from training camp. You know that Vosh will be there. You know Shango will be there. You know that Law Nation will be there. You know, it's almost going like the Mosque in Mecca, okay? Everybody's going to make their pilgrimage to Oxnard. It's going to be crowded. Probably won't be any parking spaces left for me. So I'm going to go ahead and let that go ahead and deal with that. And I am going to be focused in actually on the Dallas Cowboys' first game. We're not talking about practice in Oxnard. No. We're talking about a game. We're going to be focused in on getting you the best coverage from the Hall of Fame. That's my focus right now. I have a little over a month, and we're going to be there. It's going to be fan-friendly, and we're going to try and do some things that will hopefully elevate the Joe Boo Sports Report to a higher level. Now, we know that we're not going to see Dak and Zeke and things like that out there, but you know who we are going to see? A lot of these 11 players that we drafted and how they're going to fit in there. So there'll be a lot for us to see and do and definitely be a part of. So with that being said, I want to finish off this morning with my haterade alert. It's now, you know, we've had so many people. It started out with Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. Smith has kind of evolved a little bit where he's like, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're going to disappoint you, but they're pretty good. And it's not that I don't like the players and Jerry Jones. I got mad love because you know why we know that he has mad love for the Dallas Cowboys. It's because Joe Boo Sports Reports, investigative reports, caught his ass hugging all up on the Joneses at the Super Bowl. And it was from that point on that he kind of changed his tune about the Dallas Cowboys. Just saying. From him, it was Shannon Sharp, the big hater. But now it's kind of like Skip Bayless is the Dak Prescott hater too. And of course, there's the Dan Orlovsky.
Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky. And now it seems to be Mike Greenberg is the big Dallas Cowboy hater. Let's see what they have to say about Dak Prescott recovering.
For one more shot for Dallas, of course. You know the storyline. Dak Prescott returning after a terrible ankle injury ended his 2020 season. Over the offseason, he signed that new contract with $126 million guaranteed dollars. We will see him a little bit later in the show. But right now, let's talk about him. Rob Ninkovich, Kimberly Martin, and Mike Tannenbaum are here. And Ninko, it's interesting because the topic we wanted to get into is what exactly does that offense need to look like? What does Dak need to look like? But you brought up the fact from personal experience, he's got a major hurdle to jump over before he can start worrying about that.
Yeah, and that's his IR injury from last year. And look, every player has to go through an injury at some point. The hard part is when you're bouncing back from that injury, you can do all your rehab, you can do OTAs, mini camp, run around in training camp and feel fine and look great. When it becomes a live contact environment, that's when you start to think, okay, all this time and effort that I put into this, am I ready to go? Can I take a hit? Can I cut the way that I used to cut? And I'm going to go back to my own experience. In 2006, I tore my ACL, MCL, PCL. I had microfracture all in my right knee on a kickoff. And fast forward to
With Realtor.com's home alerts, we found our new desert home really fast.
Sorry
and us
about that.
cacti aren't exactly.
2007, I was released by the Saints. I'm with the Miami Dolphins. I'm with a new team, and we're playing in New York against the Jets. My first kickoff back from that injury, it took me a year to get back. It's a good thing I had a face mask on because people would have been like, why is he crying? And I just remember being so emotional because I just didn't want to be hurt again. I didn't want to have to go through that same injury. And I knew that if it happened again, my career was over. So the first hurdle for Dak is going to have to be getting back out there in live contact and just getting back to his old self. It's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. And look, he's going to have to play at a spectacular level this year, especially.
I thought that was a really important story because the human side of this is so significant. Having said that, Kimberly, you look at a guy like Dak Prescott. He's going to have, now he has all the money, and so I think there'll be an additional expectation for that offense to open up for him to be flinging it all over the place. But is that an offense that should run through him or should run through the running game?
It should run through Deke. Dak and Zeke. That's what I'm going to call it. Because, listen, Dak Prescott got paid, but so did Zeke Elliott. Let's not forget. Both have gotten their money, but for Dak, he has to come into this year like that fourth-round pick. He's got not the guy who's one of the highest-paid QBs in the league anymore, because there are a lot of questions about Dak still. And to be fair, it's the Cowboys' fault for a lot of that because they hemmed and hawed about whether to pay him, how long to pay him, how much to pay him. So there are questions about whether Dak can be the guy. But, Greeny, to your point with Zeke Elliott, you know, the 2 years that the Cowboys made the playoffs since Zeke has been drafted, he led the NFL in rushing, both of those years. So I understand that Dak, he's got to play at an elite level, but let's not forget about Zeke Elliott because as he goes, I think this offense goes as well.
Fascinating to me on a variety of fronts, including you went with Deke instead of Zach. You could have gone either way, really, in combining their two names. It works perfectly either way. Having said that, Mike Tannenbaum, is this an offense this year, for the Cowboys to be the best they can be, is this an offense that should be run first or pass first?
It has to be pass first because if they want to compete with the Tampa Bays of the world, which they will on opening night, they're going to have to score a lot of points. So a little bit different than Kimberly, I think this is pass to score and run to win. So if they put up a lot of points with 3 offensive linemen coming back, 2 number ones on the outside, and Zeke in the backfield, and they have the lead in the fourth quarter against Tampa Bay and Tom Brady on opening night, then you give the ball to Zeke and you play keep away. So you want to pass to score early, and then you want to run to end the game. So I think they have a chance to be the best of both worlds.
I mean, circle back to you, Ning, for a final word on that. Do you see this as a team at its apex, the very best they can possibly be? Are they a run-first team, which they have been in the past behind Zeke Elliott, or is this now officially Dak's time?
It's Dak's time.
It's Dak's time. And look at the way the NFL has turned into the quarterbacks lead the teams. And look, Dak's going to have to play at a high level, and Zeke's going to have a better season, but they're going to have to rely on Dak to throw the ball accurately, and Zeke's going to have to run the ball better. He's going to have to be consistent, more consistent, and he's going to have to catch the ball better out of the backfield because they're going to use him in the screen game. I think that Zeke is one of the best screen catch and run type running backs in the league. So he's just going to have to be better. Defensively, they're going to have to be a lot better. So it's definitely Dak's time. They paid him like it's Dak's time. So now he's going to have to go out there and show us it's his time.
Kimber, I love the Deke of it all. I think that is, we're going to adopt that as the new official slogan of the Cowboys.
All right, there we go. So I like that Deke. I hadn't thought about that. Damn, Deke. Dak and Zeke. And you almost have to look at this as a yin and a yang where they both are going to complement each other. I think this offense, as opposed to the run setting up the pass, will use the pass to set up the run. I've kind of said that myself before because you start spreading the field out, keeping teams from being able to put 8 men in the box, you'll have Zeke Elliott feasting if we have a healthy offensive line. But a thing that was actually really point noted that, and I can understand this myself, a lot of you know that I just had my meniscus repaired just last Wednesday, 9 days ago. And I'm walking right now night and day better than what I was doing before the surgery. And it's still, healing. And a lot of people don't believe me when I tell you that my senior year in high school, the last preseason game, I tore my ACL. And this was when they were first beginning to use the scope. At that time, they were able to go in, and they basically cleaned up my ACL. They removed it. It was like, as Dr. Ain put it, it's like 2 mop ends. They just trimmed it all off and said, you know, you're going to strengthen your leg muscles and hope that your quads are able to make up for it. And 2.5 weeks after that surgery, I played my first game, which people say, yeah, you're full of shit. No. I went to high school with. They'll remember the scream when I tore my ACL, much less the final 6 games of the season that I finally played after having the surgery. That first step on the field and that first play, you're not knowing what your leg and your body's going to do. And there is a big fear in there. And I'll even go to the point of, even before the injury, when you go out on the football field, until you get that first hit, you've got the nerves. Once you get that first hit, you're fine. Oh, man, I'm good. But you get those butterflies, you get that anxiety, you get those feelings inside of, you know, this is it. But you get that hit, boom, just riding the horse again. So with that being said, we've taken up enough of the YouTube this morning. I appreciate everybody being here. Don't forget to check out my other channel. I'm trying to separate some of the stuff because I have a lot of knowledge, I think, of woodworking, home improvements, and things like that. But I have a lot of people that are like, this is a cowboy channel. I didn't come here for this. So I'm doing stuff on that channel. So if you want to know something about tools or woodworking, or you have a question, you know, hey, I got a problem at my house. You know, my hot water heater keeps having water on the floor every 3 days. What's going on with it? You can, you know, put a comment in or email me a question, and I'll do a video about it trying to help you out on that. So with that being said, you know the deal. Our folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?